Deserve MVP chants from Nets fans last night. And did Patrick Mahomes' Super Bowl chances just take a big hit? Good Friday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Jen and Nick, Brendan, and Mr. Kevin Wilds. It is great to be here. We made it to the end of the week. Nick, I know I ask you all the time, you worried yet? Are you worried about Mahomes?
About what?
Nicholas.
What am I? Listen, I'm always supposed to be worried. I'm supposed to be worried about the Lakers. I'm supposed to be worried about the Chiefs. What am I supposed to be worried about?
Now it is something to worry about with Mahomes. We'll get there. But we got to start in Houston with the Texans. We finally heard from their new head coach, David Culley, yesterday. And look, the guy's in a tough spot. He'd love to keep his franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson, if only his franchise quarterback would love to stay in Houston, which he doesn't. Culley made some comments on a recent podcast, which made it seem like a trade would happen soon. Then something changed, and he had a presser yesterday to try and clean all that up. Take a listen.
Will Deshaun Watson be the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans in 2021?
He is our starting quarterback as of right now. He is our starting quarterback. Things happen between now and then we'll see what happens.
See, Coach, you just open the door.
Right now.
You just open the
right
door
now.
Right now. Exactly. You've been around, Coach. You know better.
He is our starting quarterback.
Right
Okay.
now.
Mm-hmm. That's right now, and hopefully in the future. Very committed to Deshaun as our quarterback. He is our quarterback. He's the only guy we got under contract at this time right now. Nick and our personnel department are in the process of looking at other guys out there right now, and we're going through that process daily, and we'll continue to do that. I don't know about him not wanting to be a Houston Texan, but what I hear from the outside, I just know that he's a Houston Texan. He's ours. We're committed to him, and we're going to go with that.
Oh, to be a fly on the wall on wherever David Culley was in between those two interviews. Hey, Brandon, what'd you make of David Culley's comments? Both of them.
Just an absolute mess, and it validates what Nick's been saying for the last couple of weeks, maybe even a month, that, look, nothing's going to happen until draft night. All these things that they're saying, the hard stances that they're making down in Houston is just to drive up the price. And right around draft night or right on draft night, you'll potentially see a Deshaun Watson move. That's what it said to me watching this. You know, he goes on to Huddle and Flow with the seasoned vets, the reporters, and he should have known better. You got Jim Trotter over there. You got Steve Weiss over there. Like, these guys they're not there for you. They're there for the hottest story. The hottest story is Deshaun Watson. And he got so comfortable that he actually gave them the blueprint. Like, yeah, not right now. Like, he's our quarterback right now. And then what happened? Because you asked the question, you said, something happened. Well, Nick Caserio came down and said, this isn't the Patriot way. That's not how we do things. Keep things tight, keep it inside, and continue to stick to the strategy. And that's why, Nick, he went out in the press conference, and then he changed his tone, his body language. You saw how uncomfortable he was. But I'll tell you what, you were right, buddy. It validates everything you said, resident GM.
Well, yeah, well, I appreciate that. I do think Deshaun's going to be traded. I don't think it's going to happen this month. I don't think it's going to happen the first couple weeks of April. I do think it will happen either on draft night or a couple days leading into the draft. The benefit to it happening on draft night is if they work the timing exactly right. Right now, teams can only trade picks 3 years in the future, so the latest first-round pick you could get is 2023. On draft night, if you have a deal in place, you could trade the player you draft and your 2024 first-round pick. So in theory, you could get 4 first-round picks 4 years into the future on draft night. So that's why that's the very specific, important day. And I do feel for David Culley in that, on both sides of it. First of all, with respect to David Culley, who I'm rooting for, one of the reasons he got this job after 40 years of waiting was because it is such a difficult job because of the Deshaun Watson situation. So one of the reasons that he was able to get the job was because a lot of people didn't want to have to deal with moments like this. Now, Trotter and Weish, and I don't know Steve very well, but I know Jim very well, and I have massive respect for both of them. They did exactly what Brandon said. They made David Culley feel so comfortable, he was very honest. And in the media, we ask guys to be honest, but we don't often reward honesty. But he was also, I thought, Wilds, a little more honest than we normally hear, even in the press conference when he was trying to clean things up. When he said something, he's like, guys, he's the only quarterback we have under contract. Like, of course he's our starting quarterback. He's literally our only quarterback. And so it does give you a window into not only what the Texans might do down the road, but how blindsided, whether they should be or not, they must have been when Deshaun made it clear he wanted out. Because there is no good plan B from Deshaun Watson, but they don't have any type of, well, you know, if Brady leaves, at least we have Stidham. They don't even have a Stidham in the building. And so I do think they're in a very rough, it's bad. They're in a rough spot, and I think Culley just put a voice and a face to it.
Yeah, well, he did a better job than I would do, because I'm just 100% honest. They're like, what do you think about Deshaun Watson? Like, you know, he's probably out of here, guys. Let's be honest. He's never going to put on a jersey. I'm excited for Tua, though. Like, what? Because every other coach gets a chance to just tell the truth and look forward. And poor David Culley has to be in the rear-view mirror. He's only been on the job for a month. We go through the other coaches, Brandon. Robert Salas is like, yeah, we got a bunch of picks. Well, I got a bunch of cap space. Who knows what's going to happen? And Sirianni's like, yeah, Jalen Hurts, you hear? He's going to be our quarterback. Urban Meyer's at Trevor Lawrence's pro day. He's having a ball. Brandon Staley's got Justin Herbert. Who knows what the ceiling on him is? We got Arthur Smith. It's like, yeah, Matt Ryan could be pretty good. I just saw an old guy win the Super Bowl. And we were like, remember we lost a game by actually scoring against the Lions? Maybe if I stop that. Dan Campbell, hungry for when he's not eating kneecaps, gets to see what Jared Goff can do. But poor David Culley, he's got to sit here and sort of like try to thread the line on the truth versus like the subterfuge versus, trying to drive the price up. But here's the thing, Brandon, when you talk about driving the price, Nick Caserio, who is like the draft guru from the Patriots, has nothing. He's got nothing. He's got nothing in the first round. He's got nothing in the second round. And next year he's got one pick. So look, these are the two teams. And unfortunately, I do not think it's the Jets. I think it's some combination of these picks for the Dolphins and Tua going over to Houston. It's odd that I know the calendar, Nick, that we have to kind of play it out like this, but I'm expecting a move to the Dolphins on draft night. Is that what you see?
Well, I think the Dolphins make a lot of sense. I don't know if the Dolphins are as out on Tua as everyone seems to believe. Maybe I'm just holding on to hope that Tua gets a fair shot there. But I do think he gets moved. But I've got something I want to ask Brandon, which is on topic but a little different, which is, to me, Brandon, I've said for a long time, now I've obviously never played and I haven't coached, so I haven't been in the locker room, but I think the media overrates distractions. I think the media sometimes, it makes distractions a bigger deal than they actually are for the players. This would be an instance, Brandon, where I do not think you could overrate the distraction if they don't trade Deshaun and he's not there. I feel like your season would be dead on arrival. A new coach, a lot of new personnel on that team, and if you show up to training camp and you're playing and practicing and talking to the media and Deshaun's not there, as a player, would that be a tenable situation at all?
Hell no. I mean, it's the same thing we saw play out in Houston on the basketball side, right? They're like, we're willing to get uncomfortable. We don't want to set a precedent where guys can just say they want out and we're going to let them out. And then all of a sudden, when it starts trickling down into the locker room and it starts getting toxic, that's when guys are like, you know what? We can't handle this anymore. So you saw that in Houston with James Harden. You saw guys, Boogie, and everybody's wall start saying stuff in their press conferences. And then what? The next week, trade it. Boom, just like that. Just imagine what's going to happen in that locker room. In the offseason, you have almost 90 guys in the locker room. And then you start, weeding through that and getting that roster down to 50-something guys on the team. And those guys are paying attention. They're looking at this. So right now what you're going to have is this team in limbo for months. And you don't want that. You want to be able to just draw the line and say, look, this is where we're at right now. These guys in this locker room, we're going to go get it done with them. We're going to rebuild, or whatever you call this thing, rebuild, retool, whatever it is, you got to go into that. But the next 3 months, if you keep Deshaun in that locker room, you're going to have other guys come in and say, I want to trade. I don't want to be a part of this mess. So you may lose some guys that can really push your franchise forward in the next 3 years.
And, Brandon, you said rebuild, retool. There's a different word I would use. The Houston Texans were the last expansion team the NFL has had. They're about to be an expansion team again. Wilds, you just showed it. They don't have a surplus of picks. They have one player on the roster that has real value, like A+ value, and they are going to be starting from scratch. It's going to be like the year 2000 all over again. We have a new expansion franchise, Jenna. It's the Houston Texans again.
Oh. And none of this, as we talked about, should be blindsiding David Culley. He knew exactly what he was getting into with Deshaun Watson when he took this job. All right, we have plenty more on this coming up. I want to talk about Super 6. They are giving away some cash on Sunday. Download the Fox Super 6 app. Enter the selection special contest for your shot at a $5,000 guaranteed prize. Answer 6 questions about Sunday's bracket reveal for your chance to win. We will take a break. Much more First Things First coming up right after this.